Welcome back, everyone. Happy Thursday to you all. Hope you guys had a fantastic day today. Obviously, the markets did pretty good today. Bitcoin kind of went up and down today. Finished down on the day, but the miners, for the most part, had a great day today. Especially like CORZ, Iren, Stronghold. We'll get into all that here in a second. But we have Bitdeer to talk about. Bitdeer is buying a ASIC design firm. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about also Core rejecting the offer from CoreWeave, so it's finalized now that that has actually happened. And then we'll take a look at the May production updates for Bitdeer and Iren as well. So we got quite a few things to get through, and then we'll get into you guys' questions at the end. So as always, you guys know the drill here. Not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. And this is my full disclosure for you guys here. I have updated it to now show that I have CORZ Scientific as well, Iren in there. Iren was already in there, but I had Iris Energy in there before, so I put in Iren now. So that's been updated. And I don't get paid by any of the public Bitcoin mining companies. If you enjoy stuff and content, hit the like button, subscribe. Let's get into some Bitcoin charts here, and then we'll get into the stories that we do have here. So first one at bat is, as always, recently here, we've been looking at the total hash rate on the network hash rate for Bitcoin. And that is actually, on the 7-day, it's at 578 exahash right now. If we look at the 30-day, we can see that it is down a little bit here to 598 exahash right now. So like I said, not much change there. We have had more of a change here on the 7-day than anything else here. It's quite substantive on a 7-day average. We're down to 566 here. We're back up to 587. So maybe a lot of the older miners are getting unplugged after all. Some of the miners maybe are capitulating a little bit. Hard to tell, but we'll see in a couple of days, couple of weeks, what that all entails. This is for the Bitcoin transaction fees per day. Those are up nicely today. Those are up to 65 BTC per day. We were averaging around like 20s, 16, 17, 19, 20, something like that. And we're up to 65. So that's huge impact for the Bitcoin miners here for the month of June now, which is great to see. And then we have the hash price index here. Hash price is also going up with Bitcoin price going up and the transaction fees going up as well. We peaked here today. This was right around 10 a.m. We were at approximately $63 per petahash per day. We're back down to about, what is that now, 61? So still really good, right? It's much better than what we were back here where we were at $54. So that is also having a nice impact on the miners going forward. Now, looking at the charts here, we can see that Bitcoin was down a little bit today. Not much. We've had a nice rally in Bitcoin in the last 5 days or so. So a little pullback was probably needed. But we were down 0.49% on the day. We closed at 70,773. We are down just slightly here on the new day. We're down 0.02%, still at 762 or so. Right, so it's not too bad. But we had a really good day in the miners today for the most part. Some miners were down, some miners were up nicely here. So ANY was up 12.9, almost 13%. Argo was up 8% here. Bitdeer was flat on the day. Bitdigital was flat on the day. Bitdeer was up a little bit, 4.42%. Bitfarms was actually down 2.39%. Came back down to this Fibonacci level of 0.5 here. That's looking like it's acting like support right now. So we'll see if it bounces off of that. Cypher was up 1.73%. Cleanspark was down just 0.18% as well. CORZ was up nicely today, 9.79%. It was up much higher, got up to $8.36 right now. So it's looking pretty good. Digihost 2.31%. DMG was up 3.97%. Hive was up 4.21%. Hut 8 up 4.28%. Iren up 13.36%. I mean, this thing is taking off right now. So that's the new, probably 52-week high here for Iren right now. We hit a high of 1051, it looks like, and then we closed at 1027. So Iren has been a nice little rocket ship here recently, and they're up tremendously here since they've kind of bottomed out here at this level. Let's see here, from here to where they are right now, we're up 140% here, and this is basically in 25 trading days. So well done by Iren. So that one's doing really good. Marathon was down 1.28% today. It seems to have resistance right around the 0.382 Fibonacci level on it. Right now, Mawson was up 9.6%. Riot was up 5.28%, even though they had a short report on them. It seems like the people have spoken here. And it does seem like it has a little bit of a resistance here also at the 0.5 on the Fibonacci level. If we look at Stronghold, Stronghold was up today for, I have no idea what reason. It was up 24% today. And then Wolf was up 15% as well. That one is probably getting into, not really yet, a 52-week high. but previous high was 404, but it broke out of this basically Fibonacci levels, and it's going much higher now. So the next possible resistance on it is going to be somewhere around 404, potentially right around there. So miners had a good day. Some of the ETFs also had a really good day. WGMI was up 4.56% today as well. So all in all, a good day going forward, right? We just need a couple more of those days to get like our next 5, 10x on all of this stuff here. But it's looking pretty good right now. We'll see where everything goes tomorrow and into the next couple of weeks as well. We might be starting the very first leg of the next bull run potentially. Okay, so we're getting close to it, I think. Based on just what I'm seeing with Bitcoin and everything else here, Bitcoin looks like it wants to break out, but we'll see. Okay, so that's it for Bitcoin and miners, and let's get into our stories that we do have here. So first story is going to be on CORZ Scientific. They have rejected unsolicited proposal from CoreWeave. If you remember, guys, from what was it, Monday? Monday, the story came out that they had the contract with CoreWeave for the $3.5 billion. At that point, I said I wouldn't be surprised if CoreWeave actually makes an offer for CORZ Scientific, and sure enough, they did. Right? It was unconfirmed at the time, on Tuesday at least, but now we have verification that it was an actual offer that came in from CoreWeave, and here's what we have from it. So today, CORZ basically confirmed that it has received an unsolicited, non-binding proposal from CoreWeave on June 3rd to acquire all of the outstanding shares of the company on a fully diluted basis for $5.75 per share. The stock right now is, where's CORZ at? $7.85. So it blew past that, right? And that was mainly because of the contract that they signed for $3.5 billion, going forward in the next 12 years. And that has a huge impact on the stock price because of all the extra revenue that's coming in, going to be coming in next year potentially from this contract. So no wonder that they rejected this offer. So this unsolicited proposal immediately followed CORZ Scientific and CoreWeave entering into a series of 12-year contracts for CORZ Scientific to provide approximately 200 megawatts of infrastructure to host CoreWeave's high-performance compute HPC service, right? And that's kind of what we talked about on Monday. And then the company's board of directors, in consultation with its independent financial and legal advisors, carefully reviewed the proposal. The board has evaluated the company's growth prospects and near and long-term value creation potential, including in connection with both the previous announced CoreWeave agreements and the proposal, right? So it wasn't just the proposal, right? I think the proposal had an impact on it. Obviously, the $3.5 billion is huge revenue growth for them going forward, along with Bitcoin going up in value, their ability to generate tremendous income from that going forward as well, especially if they can also change out some of the older machines for newer machines. That is going to have a huge impact on them as far as efficiencies, things like that. So I'm not surprised that they rejected this, right? If CoreWeave came in at like a $10 offer or something like that, which would have been around a $2 billion market cap or something like that for them, at that point, it might have been a little bit more appealing and a more, I think, more thought out as far as whether or not to take the offer, right? Because that's a lot better offer at that point. And CoreWeave could have afforded that. So the offer was obviously just a little bit too low for them, okay? The board determined that the CoreWeave proposal significantly undervalues the company and is not in the best interests of the company and its shareholders. I agree. And it's the same thing we're seeing with Riot and Bitfarms as well. Riot came in with it like a $2.35 offer on it. It was way too low of an offer, especially for the potential for going forward revenues and things like that and the growth that the company has. So the same thing happens here, applies to basically CORZ Scientific as well. So my take on this is simple. I think CORZ Scientific has done the right thing on this. This is not something that you want to get into because it does greatly undervalue your company going forward, especially with Bitcoin price going up in value. Hash rate potential that the company can possibly generate there as well by just changing out older machines for newer machines. They can increase their hash rate by just 10 exahash without having to implement any new infrastructure for that as well. So my understanding and my belief is this was the right decision to make by CORZ Scientific, because I do believe it is more accretive for investors going long term to be an independent company that CORZ Scientific is right now. Okay, so that is it on that one. Let's take a look at our next story here. So this comes from Bitdeer, And Bitdeer announces the acquisition of, I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm going to probably butcher this a little bit here. It's DGHI Miner in an all-stock transaction. Never heard of this company before, so I kind of looked into them here. We'll take a look at them in a second here. But Bitdeer today announced it has entered into a share purchase agreement with Free Chain Inc., DGHI Miner, a fabless crypto ASIC design company. Fabless meaning that they don't manufacture the chips, actually. They're just basically a design company. Something like an Apple, right? Apple designs the chips for their computers. Or somebody like Bitmain as well, right? Bitmain designs the chips, and then they have a foundry do it, like Taiwan Semiconductor. Okay, so on June 3rd, 2024, to acquire all of the issued and outstanding shares in DGHI Miner for consideration of 20 million Class A ordinary shares of the company. So they're going to be paying it in shares of the company from Bitdeer, right? A portion of the Bitdeer shares to be issued pursuant to the agreement will vest in equal installments over a period of 5 or 7 years, subject to the terms and conditions therein. Additionally, 50% of the Bitdeer shares issued to certain sellers under the agreement cannot be transferred for a period of 6 months following the closing. So that's kind of good. That way it kind of takes off the selling pressure when they do close this acquisition. And the remaining 50% of the Bitdeer shares issued to such sellers cannot be transferred for a period of 12 months following the closing. So that's also good. So you basically have 6 months after the closing. There might be some selling by the by the employees there or the company owners, and then the rest will happen 6 months after that. Let's see. The strategic acquisition, which is subject to the customary closing conditions, follows rigorous 10-month due diligence period during which Bitdeer thoroughly evaluated DGHI Miner's technology engineering team and supply chain. So that's good. They definitely did their due diligence, and they took plenty of time to do that. So that's good. So it looks like this can be a good thing for them, right? They didn't rush into it. DGHI Miner's cutting-edge chip designs are highly complementary to those developed by Bitdeer and are ideally suited for advanced semiconductor processes at 4 nanometer and below. Okay, so that's good there. With this acquisition, the DGHI Miner team will join Bitdeer's ASIC design team in Singapore, further strengthening the company's capabilities and accelerating its time to market. Products featuring integrated technologies are slated for imminent release. So that's definitely interesting there. And then here we are thrilled to welcome DGHI Miner into the Bitdeer family. DGHI Miner's remarkable achievements in ASIC design and their proven track record with nearly 30,000 high-performance machines in the market make them one of the top ASIC design groups in the world. Okay, I gotta have a little side note here. 30,000 machines is not a lot. For Bitmain, this would be on the smaller order size that they would normally get. Right, 30,000 machines is not much. I mean, you can see that we have companies buying from Bitmain hundreds of thousands of machines under their contracts and things like that. So they're probably selling millions of machines compared to the 30,000 that are out there. So that doesn't really speak high marks there, right? But I've never heard of this company either, but we'll take a look at them here shortly. Mr. Kong continued, integrating these advanced technology will enhance our existing product lineup and accelerate research and development of our next generation ASIC miners, which will push the boundaries of what's possible in ASIC technology and efficiency. Given our leadership team's track record in the Bitcoin industry, we are well positioned to disrupt and capture share in multi-billion-dollar ASIC market over the coming years. So they're definitely getting pretty heavy into the space here, it looks like. Right, and I think it might be a good thing for them, right? We need some more competition here. Bitmain is the biggest right now in here. They have a boatload of ASIC machines that are out there in the market. They definitely have the dominance, I think, in the market right now. So we have Bitdeer getting into it. They're buying up the DGHI Miner firm as well, and then we have also Auradine, and there might be some other ones. Block, I think, is getting into it as well. So it's becoming a little bit more fierce competition in that space, which I believe is going to be a good thing for the miners and Bitcoin in general going forward. Okay, but like I said, I had no idea who these guys were, the DGHI Miners, and this is that's on their website right now. DGHI Miner K10 Pro. In normal mode, it's 170 terahash at 22.5 joules per terahash. Not the greatest efficiency here compared to what Bitmain is offering right now, right? You got the latest generation from Bitmain, the S21 Pros, which are like 234 terahash joules per terahash. 234 terahash. and the joules per terahash is like 15 something on those. So those are like the industry leading right now. So they do have some catching up here to do. And then you have the Smart Boost mode at 200 terahash, which is at 24, so even less efficient than the normal mode one. On this one, looks like. Okay, and they do have some products here: Desert Miner K10 Pro, K10 Ultra, ready to launch Hydro as well. So I haven't really heard about them. I don't know if anybody else has heard about them. They might be a little bit more prominent in Asia and things like that, but I have not seen them here in the United States or others talking about them right now. So not sure how they compare, but based on this, they don't compare well to what's Bitmain offering right now. All right, but maybe they do have some designs in the process that will be more competitive to Bitmain going forward, and this is maybe why Bitdeer is purchasing them, acquiring them right now. Okay. So that's it on that one. Let's get into the monthly production updates here. This is going to be pretty short and sweet here. Bitdeer announces May 2024 operations update as well. And you guys can read all over this. A lot of the stuff is a rehash of previous things. There's not much new information there. So I thought we would just kind of concentrate on their production here. So self-mining, they're at 6.9 exahash right now. A slight increase from April, which was 6.7 exahash. And they mine 184 BTC. They're saying this is self-mining only. Bitcoin self-mined, self-mining only. But I don't know if that, your self-owned mining machines are for the company's self-mining business and cloud hash rate business. I'm wondering if that's including that as well. Because when I ran the numbers in my spreadsheet, it didn't add up. And I'll explain that here in a second here. But going down here, I think that is it on it. Yeah, the rest of the stuff you guys can read on your own here. So let's take a look at my spreadsheet here for Bitdeer. Bitdeer right now has about 117 million shares outstanding, market cap 856 million. Their performance over the last 12 weeks hasn't been great. They're down 11% from 12 weeks ago, down 14 from 8. They were up 11% from 4 weeks ago and up 1% roughly from 1 week ago. They are currently at 6.9 exahash future hash rate with their new generation of seal miners, A1 I think they call them. They're supposed to get to 11 exahash, and this is possibly by the end of the year, right? That's kind of what we have right now for them. They don't hodl anything. Their BTC production has been coming down for a while here since September 23, and that's mainly because they haven't been installing much hash rate since then. So they're down to 184, right? 184 BTC for the month of May. Their revenue here dropped down to 12 million, and we'll take a look at the numbers down below, but that's not why I'm saying I'm thinking it also includes their cloud hash rate. Their current hash rate here is at 6.9. They did peak at 7.2 exahash, and I think they transitioned some of that stuff over to the cloud hash rate that they have. They got down to 6.7 exahash for a number of months here, 6.9, and then BTC sold. They've been selling everything that they mine. BTC per exahash efficiency, based on the numbers that they provide and the hash rate that they have right now, this makes them one of the most efficient here. That's why I'm thinking they're including some other things in there with the BTC numbers. Bitcoin sold value, how much they sold. Going down here to institutions. Institutions did increase a little bit here to 54 for them. Shares went down actually to 6.8 million from 7.1. And percentage alt went down to 9.95 from 10.33. We still have the 1 strong buy ratings, 7 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sells. Price targets stayed the same at $20 for the high, $13.31 for the average, and $9 for the low on them. Now, going down here. So with the 184 BTC that they reported as mining, that came out to be about 11.9 million. Right? If I take that and the average BTC transaction fees added to that, which were about 6.44%, right? They came out to be like 772,000. I had them running at 30 days with the machines that they have at 6.9 exahash, and I still had to add 2 million in additional Bitcoin transaction fees, which nobody else had everybody else that has reported. My numbers have always worked out like almost perfectly, right? This I had to add. So that's a difference of about, 1.3 million or so roughly in additional BTC transaction fees, which might be the reason for this discrepancy there, which I think is going to be based on their, let's see, where is it at? Down here. Their cloud hash rate, 1.5 exahash. I think that's the reason for it. So I wish, I don't know if they did this by mistake or if it's something that they're going to be doing going forward, but I wish they would break that out between the two, right? What is the cloud hash rate? What is self-mining? What is that generating for them on it? Because right now I'm looking at their self-mining and my numbers are way off on it. So you got to take that into account looking at these numbers here for them. Okay, so like I said, I wish they would fix this, or at least provide the information for the other side of the business. But going based on that, we're including some generalization in their other revenue streams here for this as well. And we're looking at the last 3 quarters and plus the current quarter that we're in with a P of 10. I'm in between $11.66 to $17.49. They're at $7.32. I do believe that they're undervalued. But the reason they're undervalued is not a lot of growth this year, like we're kind of seeing with some of the other miners as well. Right? If you're not growing, you're not getting much value, or investors are not valuing your stock as much, I guess you could say. Okay, so that is it on that one. And let's get into Iren here. So Iren provides their May 2024 monthly investor update. Going down here, we have Bitcoin mining. Here it is. Bitcoin mine, 230 Bitcoin on that one. Electricity cost per Bitcoin is up to 35,000 now. So that is an increase from the 19.5 thousand that we had per Bitcoin in April, just a month prior. AI cloud services revenue, 882,000. Electricity cost on that is only like 16,000. And their hardware profit margin is only 98%. Is not only. It's really great, 98%, which only accounts for electricity costs, doesn't account for anything else that the company might provide as far as services, customer service, maybe sales, also tech support, things like that. That's not accounted here for that at all, okay? Going down here, what else do we have here? They talk about their expansion plans, which we've talked about in the past before. I'm not going to get into it here. You guys can definitely read that. And then just want to take a look at their buildings here that they're building out in Childress, right? So they already have 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like they're getting close to number 5 here if that one isn't already done yet. But, I mean, you can see it's just a basically rinse and repeat process. You build one, you do the other one. You build one, you do the other one. You build one, you do the other one. And it's pretty innovative what they were doing with the conduit for electricity here on it. And, yeah, this makes me believe that they are probably more likely to reach their goal of the 30 exahash by the end of the year. Based on just what we're seeing here, it's basically, like I said, rinse and repeat. Once you get one done, it makes it a heck of a lot easier to do the other ones as well, because you have that learning curve that's done and over with at that point. Okay, they go in here talking about their megawatts that they have available to them, capacity megawatts, Canal Flats, 30 megawatts, Mackenzie, 80, Prince George, 50, Childress, phase 1 is 100, total operating, 260. And then they have fleet upgrades incremental, Childress phase 2, 100, Childress phase 3, 150, total operating construction, 510 megawatts. Then Childress phase 4 and 6, 250. And then they have a development site in Texas as well of 1.4 gigawatts. So additional pipeline is greater than 1,000 megawatts. That gives them total potential of greater than 3,000 megawatts or 3 gigawatts in total. So they do have a nice pipeline going forward from them. And let me see if there's anything else. Everything else is to be basically a rehash of everything else. So we're not going to get into it. Let's take a look at Iren really quick, and then we'll get into your guys' Q&A side. So Iris Energy has about 141 million shares. If they've been pulling on the ATM, it's probably more than that now, but we won't find that out until they report Q2 numbers. Market cap has had a huge jump for them, 1.4 billion right now as of today. That has done really well. The stock has also done really, really well here in the last 12 weeks. It's up 14% from 12 weeks ago, 54% from 8 weeks ago, and 62% from 4 weeks ago. It was down a little bit last week. All right, you can't be up all the time. You need a little bit of breather, and that's what we got last week. They were down 0.51% on that one. They don't hodl anything. Their current hash rate, 10 exahash, future hash rate, 30 exahash. They got plenty of growth here going into this year, which is fantastic, which is obviously what investors want, what is what I'm looking for as well. And the production here for the month of May was 230 BTC, down 128 from the April production of 358. The revenue here came in at 14.99 million. So that is good. They had really good revenues here in March and April, above 23 million here. So that was good. BTC hodl 0, hash rate growth. Very nice growth here over the last couple of months. They were kind of flat for a lot of last year, it looks like. From May, 5.5 exahash. They got to December at 5.7, so a little bit of growth there, not much. And then finally, we got this nice rise in hash rate into the halving event, which is fantastic to see. BTC sold, they sell everything. Bitcoin or BTC per exahash efficiency, 22.95, which is really good also. BTC sold value, they sold everything here. And then going down here, institutions. Institutions also increased nicely. 120 institutions now, 39.9 million shares, 31.78% owned by the company. We still have with a 1 strong buy rating, 6 buy rating, 0 hold, 0 underperforms, 0 sells. Price target for the high stayed the same at $18.50. The average went up to $12 and the low went up to $9.50. So that is looking good there. Looking into their production here for May, I had them operating at 29.178 days. Added 965,000 in BTC transaction fees for them. Got them to the 14.994 million. And we added these 190 terahash miners that are here. So we added 3,280 of those to get us to the 10 exahash they're at, roughly. Okay. So that all worked out pretty nice. Looking at their current numbers and where they really should be valued at. So looking at the last 3 quarters plus the current quarter that we're in, which is estimated, I have them between $13.08 to $19.62. They are currently at $10.27. I think they are still undervalued from where they should be. I would wager to guess that they should be probably closer to this range than to the lower end. But somewhere in there, I think that would be a more fair valuation for the company right now. But like I said, they've had a huge run up here recently in the last, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, right? They're up 140% or something like that. And hopefully this continues going forward for them. Right? They do have nice little AI HPC business going on in there as well. It's bringing in about $1 million a month on top of it all. But the only thing is that they are actually buying those machines there and they're providing the managed services for those. So it's not hosted. What else can I say about Iren? That is basically it. Really good growth here. Really happy with the way the stock is performing right now as well. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are as well. But yeah, that is it. They just got to continue to build out, increase their hash rate going forward into this year. And things will be pretty good in this stock, I believe, going forward. I still see at least a 5 to 10x potential on this one, potentially. Okay, so that is it. My sales pitch, as always, Patreon members, you are the lucky ones that get all of these spreadsheets that I put hours and hours, and we got hundreds of thousands of data points on these guys going back to like 2022 and some of these guys going back to 2021 as well. So you have access to all of this. The link for that is in the description down below. If you want to join Patreon, it's $8 a month. Plus, if you pay the annual subscription, it's 10% off. So you get, what is that, like $10 less a month or something like that, right? Somewhere around there. But there might be some spots open at $4 and $5 tiers as well. And all of those tiers get access to the private Discord server as well, which you guys can chat with me there and chat with other people. And there's a bunch of great people there on there providing their insight, their trading strategies and all that stuff. It's a great community there as well. Okay, so that's my sales pitch there. Let's get into the Q&A side of things here. And you guys know it takes a little while for me to catch up to the questions. You guys provide a lot of questions, but it takes me a little while. But I will get to your questions as long as it's a adequate question, polite question, right, and things like that. So let's get into the question side of things and see where we are ending up here. Let me take a sip of my water. Let's see here. Thoughts on BitFuFu? Been seeing it more recently. Looks like a decent value, but think it's a Chinese company. I think it is like somewhere Asian company, but I'm not sure if it's Chinese. The only thing, I don't track them because they don't provide their production updates for monthly, and that's one of my criteria for the miners here. They got to provide those numbers, so I don't know what's going on there. If CORZ warrants are almost all at the money, should they trade close to the share price? Thank you. That I don't know. I heard some people say today that the warrants or the stock price of the company, so the regular CORZ symbol, has to trade for like 20 days above the warrants prices in order for those warrants to get exercised. If that's the case, we still have ways to go before those things happen. Right now, it looks like the first tranche is more than likely to get exercised, and the second tranche, we need to be above the $8 and something price on it for 20 days on the stock in order for those to get possibly exercised as well. Okay, but I don't know what's going to happen with those. Let's see here. Around March 2025, and expecting Iren to hit at very least $35 per share. Yeah, depending where Bitcoin price is, I would say that's a pretty good ballpark to look at. In CORZ, were there some potential additional shares I heard? Is that true? And if you would If you, what are your thoughts? Well, the warrants, I think when they get exercised, those will be converted over into shares. So there's going to be shares added into it. So that's why they're saying there's going to be dilution when the warrants get exercised on that. I think it's going to be like double the number of shares that are right now outstanding. So roughly around 380, 400 million shares, something like that will be at that point. So that's the only thing that I know on it right now. Question, do you think Bitfarms has not got a CO because they are planning on selling and they are looking for better offers? If you guys watched the interview with Ben Gagnon on McNally Money and Anthony asking him questions on there, it sounded like Ben is pretty confident about their growth plans going forward, about their execution, and it sounded like he thought that obviously the offer was really low, right? So it didn't sound like the board there is looking to sell, at least not at these these prices here. Now, if somebody offered them like $6, $7, maybe at that point they would think about it, but right now it just doesn't seem like it. But I was on Bryce and Anthony's live stream this morning for lunch, and we talked about this a little bit here, and I pointed out that right now it might be tough to get a CEO because even though they may not want to sell the company, but what if Riot is going in there with a hostile takeover? And then, the potential CEOs going in there are thinking, well, I'm going to take the CEO job, but what if, Riot does a hostile takeover and I'm only in that job for a month or two, right? So it's not a great optic at that point when you're looking for a CEO. You want somebody that's going to see the company being around for a number of years where they can make a difference in the company and, have a lot of impact on it and potentially impact their bottom line as well, their own pocketbook, right? So it's a tough spot that Bitfarms is in right now, I think. I think Bitfarms will end up with an aggressive takeover. That could be the case, right? We're hoping that it's not. I'm hoping that it's not the case. I have a lot of shares in it, but it all depends on what Riot wants to do, and depending on where the shares go in price. If the shares go up too high in price, maybe then it doesn't become beneficial for Riot to take him over. So maybe if you want to keep your Bitfarms shares, maybe we all need to buy some more Bitfarms shares in order to drive the price up, potentially to kind of push right away, maybe. Let's see. I wish I had more money to pick up CORZ. Oh, yeah, everybody probably wishes that now, right? Where were we at when the price was at like 4 cents or something like that just a year ago or whatever it was, right? Should have been buying a boatload at that point and just holding on to it, right? But going forward, I think people that just got into it recently within the last week or so are still going to do very, very well going forward. Let's see. A little concerned, Cleanspark has lost some time for increase in stock value for this cycle. Is 60 to 70 still reasonable 10 to 14 months out? Yeah, I think that still is. The big concern for me right now is them getting infrastructure to get to the 32 accesses that they want to get to by the end of the year, right? We're already in June. They announced a purchase of 2 buildings in Wyoming that would help them there. One of the buildings is questionable based on the Chinese ties there, and then whether or not the U.S. government actually is still going to be banning the purchase there, which I think they shouldn't ban it because it's a U.S. company that's buying it. So that's still questionable there. So they still need to buy some more infrastructure going forward, and time is of the essence right now. They need to do that as fast as possible. So that is my only concern there with Cleanspark right now. Let's see. Seb, Cleanspark clearly lagged other miners again. Do you regret not swapping a larger portion of Cleanspark into Iren? Also, with Cleanspark on AI at all, is Cleanspark still top miners for the next 12 months? Thanks. I will still believe that Cleanspark is a good bet going forward. All right. They have, in the past, historically, done all the right things. They're still doing all the right things. Right now, it's just the AI, not the AI, but the infrastructure. They need to get the infrastructure for it. Now, as far as the AI side of things is concerned, that we're seeing only really two miners that have gotten really good deals. The best one to date is Core Scientific getting with CoreWeave, right? $3.5 billion over 12 years. The other one is BitDigital with the $50 million. They're supposed to be growing that to $100 million here, potentially as well here shortly. So those are the only two that have gotten any substantial AI business right now. Everybody else is talking about it, but we're just not seeing the customers flowing in, right? You're not having customers banging on your door, and there's a backlog of customers waiting to get in. So for that reason, I'm okay with them not, what's the word I'm looking for? not being all in on AI. They want to be all in on Bitcoin, right? That is what they know. That is what they understand. And okay, I'm fine with that, right? They've done a fantastic job here so far. But I think right now the stock is kind of lagging is because the customers, us, the share owners and investors, we need to see how are they going to get to 32 exahash, and we're just not seeing that right now. So there's obviously some concern there, and I think that's what's keeping the stock down a little bit. Plus, it's had a huge run up here, so I think a little pullback, and you're seeing other miners like Iren coming out. They're getting to 30 exahash, right? That's kind of taking a little bit of thunder out of Cleanspark right now. But I think if Cleanspark comes out, they're buying X, Y, Z, A, B, C facilities to get to 32 exahash. I think at that point the stock will do very, very well. Let's see. Use call options is another option for CORZ, or buy CORZ at its current discount. That I don't know. That's a good question. I don't do options on anything right now, so that is not a question for me. I don't know enough details, and I don't want to put you guys in or move you guys in the wrong direction, I guess. Let's see. Bitfarms got shorted today. Do you think Riot is behind this so that they get cheaper price? Do you think Bitfarms will get shorted tomorrow too? I mean, that would make sense. If Riot is trying to get more shares, yeah, maybe short it. Bring the stock down a little bit on that one, or maybe Riot wasn't buying today. We'll find out in a day or two when they report that they're at 13 or 14% of the company, right? We'll see. I don't like the feeling of this hostile takeover, but we will see how Bitfarms can maybe fight this. Time will tell. Let's see. Sebastian, when time to sell, are you going to evaluate each one of your miners or simply going to go by Bitcoin price? If yes, which metrics are you going to be considering? Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be going one by one. The miners that I have right now. So I got Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and Iren. I think once Bitcoin starts running, I think they all will start running at pretty much the same pace, more or less, give or take a little bit. So at that point, it's going to be dependent on Bitcoin. Where's Bitcoin price at? Right, and we're going to be looking at like the stock to flow ratio, the power model ratio, I think is the other one, power on Bitcoin. Other couple things as well that we're going to look into it, the RSIs, things like that. Where's everything else on the weekly, on the monthly, how we're doing on that one, and then just the time frame after the halving event as well. Could be interesting to find out, but that's kind of the things I'm going to be looking at here. And then we could go up much higher, but if I can get to 7 figures this time around, I'm going to be happy with that. We still might go another 2x from there, but I'm not going to be able to time the top perfectly. I know that for sure. If I can get out somewhere in the middle in that, and then kind of ride it up a little bit with doing some DCA. So instead of DCAing in, I'm going to be DCAing out of the shares as well. I'm going to be selling everything all at once. That's kind of the plan right now, but we'll see. Is Wolf going up because of their AI? Yeah, they came out with the release that they're working on the AI side of things. I think that is having an impact on the stock because there's just a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of hype around AI right now. So I think that's kind of having an impact on it. Bitfarms is at 245 right now. How high do you think it will go before Riot acquires it? How high will Iren go? Is Iren the best investment right now? Iren right now is getting close to being fairly valued, right? So they were way undervalued previously, but the last 5 to 6 weeks, they've had a nice run up, 140% of gains. That mitigates some of the upside potential, right, from where if you buy right now. If you bought back then, I mean, you're still doing really good. So at that point, I think hold on to it and just let it ride out. Let's see. As far as Bitfarms, how high do you think it will go before Riot acquires it? I don't know if Riot wants to pay a huge premium on it. I'm guessing if it gets to like $3.50, $4 at that point, they're not going to be interested in acquiring because you can build out for a lot less than acquiring a miner that's valued at approximately, was it going to be around $2 billion at that point? Maybe a little bit north of that, right? So it doesn't make any sense for them to buy that when you can build it out for like a quarter of that potentially. So we'll see. Question, does your view about Iren's share price changed by year end? And saying this because of big price movement this week. As far as where the price of, so basically where the price share price will be by the end of the year. No, it doesn't change. I still think it'll be north of $70, but that's dependent on Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin gets to 125, 150,000, somewhere around there, within the next 12 months or something like that, within the next, I would say maybe 9 to 12 months, I think they will be up there with that, as long as they can build out the infrastructure and get the miners installed. What are the average prices of your ADA and HBAR that you own? Oh gosh, ADA is like $2 and something. I'm underwater on that one. I'm just looking to break even or close to break even on that one. I'm going to be selling all my altcoins going forward, except for Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm going to keep those two. Everything else is going out of business sale. HBAR is like at 50 some odd cents, I want to say. Yeah, so I got those in 2021. Live and learn, right? That was the last time I bought any kind of altcoins. I'm done with altcoins. Thoughts on BBKCF? Not sure which one that is. Don't track them. Is Wolf going up because of their AI and they have cheap electricity to provide it? Potentially. I said that in a previous question as well. It's possible. How do you handle the psychology of not being fully allocated to positions while prices are skyrocketing? My rule is not to chase the price, but geez, tough to see them coming back down. Yeah, I mean, you have to take into consideration where are you in the cycle with Bitcoin and the miners and everything else. Sometimes you unfortunately have to chase them to still get you might not get the 10x, right? But you might still get the 5x. So that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to chase Iren. I got into Iren back in November of last year, December. I started buying it, and I was buying more Bitfarms at that point because I thought Bitfarms was more undervalued. But I probably, in hindsight, I should have been buying like 50-50 of those two. So whatever I was putting into Bitfarms, I should have went 50% into Bitfarms, 50% into Iren at that point. Lesson learned. Going forward, I'll probably do that. But yeah, I mean, I don't like chasing either. I like buying the dips when things are going down. I like to buy the miners when they're beaten up and beaten down, right? I like it when they're coming down in price. It's tough when you're doing that also because you're also going to be chasing that fall until it actually bottoms out. And it's tough to look at when your stocks are down 60-80% or something like that. But you have to have the patience and the conviction in those stocks going up much higher in the long run, which I did, which I've learned over the previous two cycles here. And as far as chasing, like I said, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet, and that's what I did with Cleanspark. I sold 20% of my position there, which was basically the cash that I put into it to buy the shares in Cleanspark, and I transferred those over into Iren because I knew that I was not going to be able to, from just my day job, from YouTube and from the Patreon members, I was not going to be able to get a sizable position quick enough to make it worthwhile to get into Iren. So that's why I did that thing there. If it wasn't for that, and if I thought I still had more time, I probably would have just dollar cost averaged into Iren, which was my next move there, right? Bitfarms, I got to a position where I was happy with, and the next plan was start putting in a heck of a lot more into Iren. But time did not cooperate with me. If they waited until maybe the second quarter and they came out that they're getting to 30 exahash, by that time I would have been in a much better spot. But they did it in Q1, or after Q1 results. Let's see here. Wolf was howling today. Yes, it was. It was definitely howling today. Let's see here. Ben said Bitfarms has a lot of candidates for a CEO, and they are taking their time to select the best person for the job. Yeah, he did state that, which sooner is better, I think, on this. But how much time do you need? I know you need to take some time, but they've been doing this for a while now. They really should be picking somebody by now. Let's see, considering everything that we know today and hoping that everything will stay on a right track in the future, disregarding Bitcoin seasonality, which miners would you keep forever? None. I would not keep any miners forever. Not forever, no. For the cycles, yes. I have learned to get into the miners after the bull run, and I probably got in a little bit too early this time around. I got in 2022. Because I just did not know where we're going to bottom out at in the bear market. So I was buying Bitfarms at $5 something and Cleanspark at like $9. And that's only because I didn't know where we're going to end up at. But given what I know now, I think I would have waited maybe another 6 months or so to start buying into it. But you never know until hindsight, right? Looking back. So yeah, based on this, I would never keep the miners forever. The only way that might change is if this cycle is truly different. And what I mean by that is we've already we've already reached a new all-time high before the halving event. That has never happened. We have the spot Bitcoin ETFs. We have pension funds getting into it. We have ETFs across other countries. There's just a lot more interest happening with Bitcoin right now. So could Bitcoin have a similar moment where gold had it with ETFs as well? Meaning that gold ETFs went up for a number of years, pretty much consistently there, and we didn't have that drawdown, right? If that happens this cycle, which we don't know is going to happen or not, a lot of people are still hoping to have a bear market. I would personally love to see another bear market for me to rinse and repeat what I've learned in this cycle as well. But I just don't know if we do have a cycle where it continues to go up year by year, right? We don't have that 80% drawdown or 70% drawdown in Bitcoin because of the bear market. Then at that point, it might make sense to keep some of the miners maybe forever, especially the ones that are maybe then getting into AI side of things like CORZ, right? If CORZ is making $290 million a year on that, they can expand growth into other things as well on top of it. That might make it a little bit more appealing. But right now, the way things are, I would not. So time will tell us. What are your thoughts on Hive at the current time frame versus Bitfarms, Iren, etc.? Oh, I've talked about Hive previously as well. You guys have asked questions about Hive. Hive has great operations, great balance sheet, really good management there as well. They've been through these cycles before. The only thing there with them is the growth. Right now, I was talking to Anthony about it today on their channel, on their live stream today. Anthony did say that they're looking to get to 8 exahash, right? I have them getting to 6 exahash based on what they've already purchased miners-wise. I haven't heard anything else from them, so maybe when they update the May production, maybe they'll provide some information on their growth getting to 8 exahash and what miners they're getting for those. 8 exahash is good, but it's still not great, right? And we have miners that are getting to 21 exahash like Bitfarms. We have Iren now getting to 30 exahash. You got Cleanspark getting to 32 exahash. So there is that huge, I guess you could say, you got the smaller miners on this side and you got the larger miners that are much, much higher on that side. So there's a big disconnect between all those miners in that space from where the top miners are getting to and where some of the smaller miners are getting to right now. So based on that, and I've owned Hive for many years. I held on through them through 2021 because everybody was saying Bitcoin's going to 100,000. Should have sold when we got to 69,000 twice. So learned a lesson from that. But yeah, if it was more growth from them, I think they would be valued a lot more. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't do well this cycle. They still could do 2, 4, maybe 5x with Bitcoin going up to 150,000, 200,000, whatever it might be. But I don't believe that they will perform as well as some of the miners that are growing right now. Okay. Do you think Iren's overbought here? Would you sell here and buy lower? I don't day trade those. It's always tough. I've learned in the past through my own experience when I tried to time the markets and things like that, I get bit in the rear. Meaning, I've tried it with Bitcoin before. I would have had more Bitcoin than I do now if I didn't do that, if I just held on to what I had. So I've learned that. I've learned also in some other stocks as well that I can't time it. I don't have the time for it. I work during the day, so you basically, if you can stare at the screen for 8 hours while the trading session is going on, okay, maybe you can do that. You can look at the charts and everything else and see what's going on. But if you got a job to do and you're doing this, on your phone or something like that really quick, you're not going to have really much success. I think it's been proven that like 90% of day traders actually end up losing money. That's the reality of it. Question: HUT8 or HUT is basically a HODL valuation, and a reason it does not get similar multiples as MicroStrategy. Yeah, the miners in the past were looked at as a proxy to Bitcoin, especially the ones that HODLed it. This time around, you got MicroStrategy that has a heck of a lot more than these miners do, right? That's basically their business now is HODLing Bitcoin. Whereas HUT8 still has Bitcoin mining, not so much anymore, right? We don't have any information from them as far as what their growth is going to be going in the future. And they're more, I think they were concentrating more on the managed service side of things, hosting, where they see that they need less capital to grow those types of businesses. So that's kind of the things that they're focusing on right now. I think that is because of that. Not a lot of hash rate growth going forward. They have older miners as well. That is why the stock is not being valued on their hash rate operations or their Bitcoin mining operations. They're currently just being valued like at 80 or 60%. I think it's like 70% or something like that of their market cap is based on their HODL right now. So their HODL is 70% of the market cap, their value on it. So I think until they actually come out with huge growth plans, that's going to be the case going forward for them. What do you think about Mara price until end of 2024 and 2025 if Bitcoin goes to 100,000 or 50,000? Thanks, Seb. Mara's at $20 some right now. I could see easily 5x from them still, so that would get them to about $100, if not higher, depending where Bitcoin goes. Right? They're at 30 exahash now, I believe. They just got to fix their operations, get their uptimes much closer to 100% if they can. At that point, the stock will do much better. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Let's see. Can you give us all the reasons not to bail on Bitfarms? I have huge position, down 50%, needing some conviction. Yeah, I mean, if you got in a little bit higher prices, like I said, I've been buying since 2022. So my average price is like $1.40 something right now. So I'm still up like 60-70% on Bitfarms right now. But my biggest conviction in there is the growth. I like the growth that they have there. They got Ben Kenyon in there as well. So that is kind of my theory behind it. The growth will solve a lot of their issues. And if they can get a CEO, get Riot off their back about acquiring them, I think the stock can do much better. But yeah, it's definitely testing my patience there on that one. Also, between Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and Iren or Hive, which seems the best value play at the current point? Gosh, I would have to say, right, Bitfarms has issues. We know about those issues. If it wasn't for those issues, I would say Bitfarms 100%. But because of that, I don't want to lead you guys down the wrong path here. I'm still holding on to a large number of shares of Bitfarms. I would say Iren might be the better buy there compared to Cleanspark. I think Cleanspark is fairly close to being fairly valued there right now. Maybe a little bit undervalued, but Iren a little bit more undervalued than Cleanspark is right now. And Hive, unfortunately, because of their lack of substantive growth into 2024, I would discount them from being included in that right now. How much in dollars invested right now do you think it would take to have a reasonable chance of hitting 7 figures? I'd guess 10x is about the best to expect from here, so 100,000. Yeah, I mean, right now, if you're getting to the miners, yeah, you would probably need that, or maybe, depending on the miners, depending on where Bitcoin goes. If Bitcoin goes up to 100 or 200,000 or 250,000 or something like that, you may only need like 50,000 to get to 7 figures at this point. But that is if Bitcoin goes that high in the next 9 to 12 months, potentially. I don't know if that's going to happen. My original target was 180,000. If we get close to that, I will be happy with that. And a lot of people are calling that it might go a lot higher because of all the adoption that we have right now, all the banks that are trying to get into it, the mom and pop investment firms, the pension funds, ETFs around the world, everything else is kind of adding into it there. So we'll see where Bitcoin goes. Can you give us a list of the top most undervalued miners from today, considering the future growth and some other important metrics? Thanks. Right now, the most undervalued, if you're looking at future growth, I would say, right now, it's like I said, Bitfarms I think is the most undervalued right now, but there's reasons for it. Other than that, the next one probably would be still CORZ, Iren, and then you're looking at like Riot, Cleanspark. Those would be the ones I would look at. You can also take a look at Cypher. They're getting to 13 exahash this year, so there's some growth there, not a lot, but 13 exahash is better than nothing. And then they're getting to like I think 35 exahash next year as well. Then you got TeraWulf after that potentially, but TeraWulf's getting to what 10 exahash this year as well. So not a lot of growth there. Also, more growth possibly in 2025 though. That's kind of the ones I would look at. The smaller miners like the DMGs, Digihosts, all those, not a lot of growth there. That doesn't mean that they won't do at least, maybe a 5x going forward. Bitcoin hits like 150, 200,000. But if you're looking for some of the ones that might do the best, those are kind of the ones I would look into right now. Unless they really surprise and come out, they're getting to 10 exahash from 2 exahash, right? That's something we got to keep an eye on. Let's see. Riot won't be able to buy out Bitfarms. The more shares they buy, the fewer there are and harder it will be. Yeah, hopefully that's the case. They only rate 12% though. So, and I think somebody stated in Canada you need to have 66% of the shares in order to have a buyout from a company, a majority. At that point, it's not like in the United States where you need 51% of shares. I don't know if that's the case. If that's the case, that's fantastic because they need to buy a heck of a lot more shares. Let's see here. Move to $14. It will happen. Just be patient. Well, they're at what, $2 now? Never mind. I think I spoke too soon. I thought they were like at $4, but I think they are at. Let me take a look. Where are they at right now? 321. So that would be, was it a 4x? Yeah, I think they can still do that in this bull cycle. Let's see. Do you think we can see Bitfarms reach 9.5 exahash next week or 12 exahash at the end of June? Hope they can find a new CEO this month. Yeah, it would be nice. They have 9.5 exahash installed right now, so roughly 2 exahash is awaiting energization in Paraguay. And they're working on the other facilities as well. So I think they're going to be close to 12 exahash potentially if they can also get the other facilities energized in June, which they said that they're working on that. So that would be great. Can you please give us average price targets for top most undervalued miners? Oh gosh, price targets depending where Bitcoin goes. Like I said, if Bitcoin goes 2x from here, you can look at the miners potentially getting, like 4 to 6x, maybe even higher than that. If Bitcoin goes up higher than that, closer to 200,000, at that point you're looking like 6 to 10x potentially, right? But they got to execute, they got to grow, they got to do all those right things there. Man bought the Cardano ADA and H bar on the top of the on the nose. Yeah, right at the, well, that wasn't quite the top, but I was buying into it, thinking things were going to go much higher, but they didn't. Lesson learned. $40 strike price, Wolf tomorrow, and GME $200. Yes, I mean, Roaring Kitty's making some money on GME, that's for sure. Let's see. Ed, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm new to this and investing. How would you take profit? Let's say you own Bitfarms at 250 and you want to ride it as long as possible. Thank you. Yeah, I think we'll have to keep an eye on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the big contributing factor here. Bitcoin continues to go up. Let's just say it goes up. Let's just say theoretically goes up to 150,000. That's a 2x here. I think Bitfarms at that point can still do like 5 to 10x from where they are right now, somewhere around there. So I would say maybe around $10, start looking to dollar cost average out potentially, somewhere around there. That's not too far away from where they are right now. So depending on how much positions you have or how many shares you have in it, that's kind of when I would maybe start thinking about taking 5% off here. It goes up some more, take a little bit more off at that point. Go about it that way, kind of the same way as you would dollar cost average into a stock, but in the reverse. By the way, thanks for doing these streams. Very good job. Great views about the topics and very informative. Keep up the great work. Yeah, thank you so much. You're very welcome also. Let's see. Why didn't it pop up here? Seb, on your spreadsheet review of Iren, you said it was still undervalued, but then in question said it was fairly valued now. I say it's getting close to being fairly valued. If we look at my spreadsheet here for Iren right now is at 1027. I have them at the lower end at $13. So I said that they're getting close to that, and $19.62 on the higher end right now. And that's just for looking backwards at the last 3 quarters and the current quarter that we're in right now, based on those valuations. And it kind of coincides with what the analysts are rating them as well. So that also has to be taken into account a little bit. Let's see. Question is the CORZ and the Core and W contracts a done deal. So those are the warrants. I believe we need 20 trading days above those stock. The stock has to trade for 20 days above those warrant prices. At that point, it will be a done deal, I think. There might not be a bear market for certain miners because of AI revenue streams. Yeah, I mean, CORZ right now is going to be generating 290 million roughly for the next 12 years. That's going to be pretty much a given unless something happens there. And Bit Digital has a current contract for 50 million a year for the next like 2.5 years or something like that. That's left on it, but they might increase that to 100 million. So we'll see. Just for fun, if you were to take a wild guess, when would you dart the cycle, peak the cycle? I'm thinking maybe like in the first quarter of 2025, somewhere around there maybe. Don't know whether it's going to be like the beginning or the end of it, but I'm guessing maybe that might be even too quick there. Depending if it's like a left aligned cycle where we have a lot more growth in the first part of it, or a right aligned where we have a lot more on the opposite side at that point. It's tough to say. Question, given what we have learned from CORZ this week and the price increase, is it still undervalued by how much? Yeah, it's still undervalued from where I think it should be, especially going into next year when you have into it. I have CORZ right now at, let me take a look at my sheet here really quick. CORZ. Currently, I think they should be valued, if we account for the dilution that's going to happen in there with the warrants when those get exercised, you're looking at between $19 and like, $19 on the high end to like $9.50 on the lower end. The stock is at $7.85, so I think it's still undervalued based on that. But that doesn't also take into account the future growth of Bitcoin going up in value, right, with all these guys here. Doesn't take into account the AI side of things as well, the revenue that they're going to be generating from that. This is just basically where I think they should be valued right now. So they're getting close to where they possibly could be valued. And that's if we get all those shares diluted from the warrants. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm looking at there. The rejection of the proposal by CORZ will lead to increase or decrease of its share price in the coming days. Increase. I think it's bullish, right? If CoreWeave was looking to buy them out at $575, and they basically signed a contract with them for $3.5 billion over the next 12 years, that's bullish. That's locked in revenue there, $290 million a year. I think that's bullish. So I think that's going to definitely continue to rise up there on them. And then if they can exercise the warrants there as well, they're going to be able to pay off the debt, get cash to fund growth in Bitcoin mining itself as well. That would propel the stock even higher, I think, at that point. Question, markets are forward-looking. How much do you think Iren and CORZ growth are already priced in? Thanks. Not much. I don't think that's priced in that much. They were undervalued from where they should have been priced because they didn't have much growth. And now that they have growth, they're getting better. They're getting repriced to where they should be, right? Closer to like Cleanspark, Marathon, and all that. And then Bitcoin price going up in value, that's going to be another catalyst that's going to drive the stocks up even higher because the revenues are going to be going up much higher from that. Let's see. It sounds like Riot is a good hedge for Bitfarms. I mean, it's a win-win for Riot, regardless if they buy them out or if they just have the shares on it. If Bitfarms is able to execute, they're going to go up 5 to 10x in share price. Riot owns a bunch of shares. They're going to benefit on that. And if they're able to buy them out, they're going to benefit on it anyway. So it's really a win-win for Riot on this one. I'm also holding Cardano and keep DCing weekly. I have faith ADA can do 10x at least in the bull run. Oh, I wish that was the case. I wish I had your conviction in that, but I've gotten burned in the past with other altcoins and things like that where, I got in kind of the pre-bull run and didn't sell in the bull run and then held on to them and they just continued to go down and down and down. They didn't do the same thing. If you look at the number of altcoins that are in the top 10, right, in the crypto space, there's very few that have been around for a couple cycles. Bitcoin, Ethereum are like the only ones. The other ones, there might be a couple more in there, but that's basically it. So, given Iren exahash goal by end of year and current market cap, shouldn't they reach at least 40 by end of year? That's on the possibly on the lower end of things where I think things would be, depending on Bitcoin goes. Bitcoin goes up to 125,000, we're looking much better at that point, and if Bitcoin goes higher than that, we're looking even better as well. The challenge for a good number of people will be not fully understanding how volatile the sector can be. Yeah, it's extremely volatile. Right, Bitcoin goes up 2x, you can have the miners go up 3-4x. Bitcoin goes down 2x or goes down 20%, you can have the miners going down 50%. So there is a lot of volatility there. That's something always to be mindful of. Are the larger miners like Mara and Cleanspark ready to make their own moves based on the charts? Yeah, I mean, they've been trading sideways for a while now. They could have their day as well, like some of the other miners here. I think we need Bitcoin to be like probably at 80, 85,000 at that point, and they should do really well at that time. Victor, thank you so much for the super chat of 200. What is that? THB. What is that? Never heard that. So thank you for that. Let's see. Lots of new faces here. Yeah, we're starting to make some progress. I think that might be a little bit of a sign that we're getting into a little bit of a bull run here, potentially as well. Let's see. Sebastian, please tell me if you feel Dale Capital has something to do with the Riot trying to buy out Bitfarms because of their offshore mining. No, Careside Dale just came out with a report, what was it, a day or two ago on Riot? Riot trying to buy out Bitfarms is just trying to be the biggest miner. And that's only because they saw, well, what I see also is their huge potential going forward in this year. And they were just way undervalued from all the other miners right now because of the FUD of Paraguay, FUD of Bitcoin mining ban, the CEO FUD, the tax FUD in Canada as well. So you had all this stuff that kind of beat down Bitfarms over an extended period of time where the price was really depressed from where it really should be. And that was just, Riot saw an opportunity to possibly see if they can buy them out, right? I don't blame them for trying it. I mean, it was great on them to do it if they can get away with doing it, but I don't think it's great for the shareholders of Bitfarms. Let's see. Sincere thoughts on Riot's platform's future. Okay. So we got the May production update from them. They installed about 3 exahash or so at Corsicana. On average, they were operating about 1.4 exahash. I think my memory is correct. Which I give them the benefit of the doubt with that. Because as you're installing miners, it's going to take some time for those to get installed, right? They're doing immersion cooling and everything else. That's going to take time to get to ramp up your hash rate. So running at half, roughly, for the first month isn't bad. We want to see much higher uptime there for the second month. So even if they install more, let's say they install another 2 exahash on top of that, so there would be a 5 additional exahash. I would like to see them operating closer to like 2.5 exahash, 3 exahash, somewhere around there. Much closer to where they were on average, right? So if we see that, I think that's going to be a good sign there. But the big thing is we want to see much greater uptime efficiencies at Corsicana, at Rockdale, and we want to see just what else? Better Bitcoin production, their growth continuing, and things like that, I guess. If they can do that, I think the stock will do very well going forward. See, do you think Riot price will go up along with the other miners' BTC price increases while their performance lags? I think so, but it may lag in performance compared to the other miners a little bit. But Bitcoin usually going up will lift up all boats at the same time, so I think it will go up. EHLs, thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, left translated cycle, huge peak by October, in my opinion. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're also hearing from a couple of people. So we have 2 camps here, where there's some are saying that we might have the left translated cycle where it peaks faster. We also have some people saying that we may not have a peak. We may just continue to go up in value in Bitcoin for an extended period of time. Gosh, I don't know which one I would want more. Whether I would want like the blow off top one and we have a bear market, or if I would want to see it continuing to go up. I don't know which one's going to be more beneficial to the miners, or to my pocketbook at least. When we're looking at this stuff. With the blow off top, I can possibly get a 5-10x on these miners, sell them, wait for a little while, get into a bear market, buy them again, and rinse and repeat the process. So I don't know if a longer bull run would be beneficial like that. Not sure. What is your low high target for Cypher this cycle? Let me see here. Cypher is getting to like 13 exahash by the end of the year this year, 35 by the following year, I believe. Right now, I have them between $5.35 to $8.02. They're $4.11. So I do think that they are slightly undervalued right now. And if Bitcoin goes up 2x, I could see them getting 4 to 6x potentially on top of that. So that would get us to like $16, $20 potentially, if not more, depending on how well they build out and everything else. That's kind of the way I would look at it. It seems a lot of new money is coming into BTC. Is the price increase reflecting that inflow? If not, what is holding it back? I mean, you might have people that are just selling it that got into it, last cycle at 69,000 at the peak, and you got people that are just like, all right, finally made my money back. I'm out of it, right? This is a scam, whatever their thoughts is on the process. So you just never know. And we had a lot of people obviously buying back then between, the 40s and 69,000. So it could be people that are just taking profits right now, and they're like happy with that. They're not even thinking about what's going to be going forward. And as far as the demand there, I've been speaking to a couple people where they're saying that they're now seeing more and more demand from mom and pop institutions, like family funds and things like that, that are looking to actually buy like spot Bitcoin ETF, where they've never seen that before. So I think there is a lot more of that happening this cycle, only because we have the spot Bitcoin ETF. That's kind of, if anything, it put a plus on Bitcoin for investment potential. As before, it was like a C, right? That was kind of iffy. You don't know if you want to get into it and things like that. So I think it is bringing in more of those firms, of the small firms, the pension funds. We already saw that it's bringing a lot more into the space in general. So it will go. Right now, we're just kind of trading sideways. We're kind of in this accumulation phase right now before we have this huge potential uptrend coming forward. When is that going to happen? Within the next couple of days? It could be a couple of weeks, but we're going to see that happen. How would you rank the different mining facilities? I've heard Iren spend more than some other miners to build facilities that are higher quality, whereas Marathon doesn't have the best facilities. Well, Marathon doesn't have the best facility because they bought facilities from their hosting partners. So they didn't really have control over those facilities. Iren does spend a bit more. I think they're spending like 750,000 per megawatt to build out the facilities, where we've seen Marathon buying facilities for, they're paying a little bit of a premium there, but they're paying in the 400,000s per megawatt. Whereas we're seeing Cleanspark buying facilities at like 300,000 range to sometimes in the 200,000 range. Hut 8 is building out infrastructure like 200 some thousand dollars. So there is a scale, I guess, to the cost of the buildings there. Iren has always said that they are looking to build infrastructure that could be dual purpose, whether it's HPC or Bitcoin mining, and that's why it's costing a little bit more, but they have that flexibility to do that going forward. And, it's working out for them so far. And I think that might be the way to go. I don't know if you want to spend a lot of money. There's some benefit to spending less if you put in like containers and things like that on the sites, right? You can spend less to do that. But how clean are the machines in there, all that other things go into it. So I think there's a balance between all of those as far as where you want to be at. It depends on your overall goal, I guess. But how would I rate them though? I think Iren has some of the best facilities I've seen so far, along with Cleanspark. Riot has a great facility also. I mean, it's all immersion cooling there. So they're top 3 there. Marathon, I would say, is pretty good, except for the issues that they've had at the 2 facilities because of the infrastructure there. Hopefully they get that remedied and fixed going forward. After that, I would say Hive has some good facilities. Who else? Cypher, TerraWolf, Hut 8 has some less than stellar facilities. And you could probably go down a list after that, I guess. Let's see. For 6 months, I've been buying Bitcoin mining. I'm finally glad that the Bitcoin miners are going up. 150,000 Bitcoin. Yeah. So you're probably buying in a pretty good time at that point. 6 months going back, yeah, prices were pretty low towards December and things like that. So you're probably getting pretty good prices at that point. Question. I wanted to know if CORZ and CoreW, the 12-year contracts, a done deal. The 12-year contracts, I believe, is a done deal. I believe they signed it. And as far as the CORZ and CoreW warrants, I'm probably like the least person you want to ask on that, as far as I'm still trying to wrap my understanding around it all, how it works. And I've been learning a lot from you guys. You guys have been providing a lot of great information on it. So maybe some of the people in the chat will be able to provide some better information on it. Let's see. Weg Wen Seb, Do you think it's too late to double my shares in Bitfarms? Also, what is your average price for Bitfarms? My average price is $1.46, somewhere around there. Somewhere around there. I keep looking at. I have too many numbers in my head, and my memory's not the greatest. Same thing goes with like remembering people's names. I am terrible at that for some reason. I just can't remember people's names unless I actually meet them a couple times, for some reason. But yeah, is it too late to double shares? If you believe that they're not going to be bought out by Riot, I would say probably not too late. If you're on the fence on it, maybe buy a little bit more into it. I don't know. I've been buying into it for 2.5 years. I have plenty of shares right now, so I'm just kind of watching this all play out, and I'm hoping that Bitfarms stays as an independent company right now. But yeah, it's kind of where I'm at right now. In your opinion, who will be the next takeover candidate? Honestly, I think maybe Iren. Somebody might go in after Iren. Iren has 3 gigawatts of electricity pipeline in their portfolio. They might be one to get an offer. Other than that, who else do we have here? Maybe Mawson. Mawson has infrastructure. They're kind of also in a hard spot right now. After that, who else? I think that would kind of be it. I don't think anybody wants to buy Stronghold. Nobody wants to buy Argo. Argo doesn't have any infrastructure anymore left. Same thing for Sphere. They only have Bitcoin mining. They don't have any assets there. Digital doesn't have any assets either, really, as far as they only have the miners and the HPC side of the business, but no infrastructure there, so they're not really a buyout candidate. Who else? Hive might be a buyout candidate as well. That's the only ones I can think of right now at the top of my head. More Tim27, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Let's see, already covered that one. Gary, I'm holding more Bitfarms than I'm willing to disclose. I'm not terribly concerned about their issues. If Bitcoin breaks through resistance at the end of the June, stock price plus, yeah. I kind of think the same way as well. Do you ever worry about a recession and a big market crash? No, not at least not in the short term. Longer term, possibly. But we're already seeing, who was it? Was it Canada that already lowered their interest rate? And then we saw the EU lower their interest rate by a 1/4 point as well. Eventually, the U.S. is going to follow suit, and then we're going to start lowering. Plus, we have an election this year, so they're going to want to make the current president look pretty good there, with the economy possibly doing better. So I don't see that happening, at least not right now. In the next couple of years, could we have a recession? We could have a slight one, right? A recession is usually qualified as, was it 2 quarters of negative GDP growth, I believe, at that point. So we might see that. We'll see, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Let's see. I think I'm getting close to your guys' questions here, getting caught up here right now. Let's see. Those interested in options should explore selling put options on stocks they want to buy. It's not difficult. Yeah. I need to learn more about options. I need to... I wish I just had more time. Time is the thing of essence, I guess, and you don't have enough time to do everything that you want to do. But maybe when we get past this bull run, I'll have a little bit more time to do those things. We'll see. Do you think Riot is pushing up Bitfarms with buying it? Maybe just a little bit, but they're going to be smart about it. I think they're going to be doing it on like the OTCs, on the black pools or the dark pools, where they call them dark things as well. Buying shares there as much as they can to not raise up the price, because they don't want to raise it up any more than they have to. But I think the price is also being risen by institutions still possibly buying into it, investors possibly buying into it as well. They're seeing it, that there's possibly a good opportunity there in it as well. Henry just became a member. Henry, thank you so much for becoming a member. Let me see. I'm currently holding 30,000 Bitfarms shares at 244 Canadian. I'm waiting 5x at least this round. Yeah, so 244 Canadian, that's what, approximately $1.60, $1.70 USD, I think, something like that. So you're in pretty good shape, kind of like the same spot that I'm at right now. Timberwolf had a great day. Yes, it did. They had a fantastic day today. So did CORZ, Iren. Stronghold, I think, had an even better day than everybody else here. Yeah, Stronghold was up 24% today. I'm really no news there. So we'll see. How long do you think the bull run will last, and when are you looking to sell? That's the question of the century, I think, here, or at least of this decade. When will we peak in the bull run this time around? I really don't know. We could be, like some have said in the past, that it could be left aligned run that we have. So maybe in October, November, we might peak. Others are saying it could be right aligned as well. And some are saying that we could go much higher in longer terms, right? We don't have a bear market anymore. There's a lot more research that we need to do in this and a lot more thinking about this. All right. Basically, what you want to do is think about where do you want to get to with the number of shares that you have in these companies and things like that. What would satisfy you if you had to exit out at that point, right? Could you getting out at 3x, 4x, 5x still have a huge impact on your life at that point and make it so much better that even if it went up even higher from there, not much, maybe went up another couple, 2, 3x or something like that, it wouldn't be the end of the world for you. So nothing wrong with taking profits, especially if you believe that's going to have a huge impact on your life and your family's life going forward. So you have to look at it that way as well. Rick, you've given a lot of knowledge worth the membership. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's see. You should do polls during your live streams. Keep folks engaged. It's kind of tough for me to do polls, talk to you guys. So if I had a moderator or somebody else helping me out, maybe, yeah, that would work out. But it's tough for me to look over you guys' questions, do polls or do chats or anything like that. Too many things to do at once is kind of tough. Nice question. What will happen if Iren decided to stop selling their Bitcoin and HODL? Any thoughts? Thank you. Good question on that one. I don't know. I mean, right now, they would have to pretty much HODL everything that they mine, and they're not going to do that, right? The small HODL that they would HODL, if they were going to do it, they should have done it already before the halving event, at least 6 months to a year prior to that, to HODL into it. Right now, I think it would be a marginal impact or a very small impact on their stock price. Do you think there is any chance Cleanspark can get into AI? Right now, based on their comments that they've had, I don't think they're looking to do that. Could things change if they see the market change, right, where there's a lot more demand and things like that? Right now, like I said, we only have Core Scientific and Bit Digital that have really good contracts for AI or HPC. Everybody else is playing around in this field, but nobody's getting those, big baggers right now except for those two. So we'll see it. But right now, I think it's fine for Cleanspark just to concentrate on their Bitcoin mining. They have a huge growth plan that they need to hit. It would be a distraction for them right now on that side of things. So I would just leave it the way it is right now for the time being. But time will change, and we'll see what happens later on this year, next year in the AI space, right? See how that's progressing going forward as well. Let's see. Is Riot manipulating Bitfarms? They're trying, well, not really manipulating them, but they're trying to manipulate the stock to where they can acquire more shares without really moving the price up. So they're buying through OTCs and other places like that. EHL, thank you again for the super chat. My crazy sci-fi thought, future proof of work will be AI computation. Miners will power AI in the future. That'd be kind of cool if that happens. Let's see here. Also, what are your thoughts on purchasing leaps for any of these miner stocks? Like I said, I don't do options, leaps, or anything like that. I have very limited knowledge of that. And I would just leave it at that. So I don't know. Ask around other companies, other YouTubers that are doing options. There's plenty of people on Twitter that are really great at options and the way they work them. But my knowledge is limited on it, so I can't really give you a good answer on that one. All right. I think that's it, guys. We've been going on for, an hour and a half almost, roughly. So we will call it a day. What's going on this weekend? Not much, really. What do we have going on? We have no X, at least right now, no X spaces this weekend. Tomorrow's Friday. I will not be doing a show tomorrow. It's Friday. Everybody's out having a good time, right? Enjoying the weekend or enjoying the end of the week. So we will do one either on Saturday or on Sunday. A live stream again. We'll discuss how the miners did this week against Bitcoin, and we'll see whatever else happens on Friday. If there is breaking news on Friday about something that Bitfarms sold to Riot or something like that, I will do a live stream at that point, probably in the afternoon or something like that. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. It's been a great week with the miners and Bitcoin right now. fingers crossed. We'll get another great week and another great Friday with it all. So I do appreciate you guys coming in to watch these, to ask the questions and everything else. And I wish you guys a great night, a great weekend. Go out there, touch the grass a little bit. Bitcoin's going to be around, if we're not in front of the screen the whole time. And it might be even for the good things. Sometimes when you walk away from the screen, you come back and you see Bitcoin's up, $1,000 or something like that. That's a good feeling. So enjoy it. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. And I'll also get you guys in the comments as well if you guys have any there. Okay? But that's it. Have a great night. Until then, bye.